Dormail, home of a great night's sleep.
I do think that there is awareness in the country now that there wasn't.
Hello.
Hey.
Transformational Tuesday, darlings.
I know.
Can I just say that there's this thing that I was thinking about my mum yesterday, and she, when she was on her own at the end, she couldn't really get out very much. And there's this app called Readly, which is, and I just wish it had been there because she was an avid reader. She read so many papers every day, magazines every day. Readly, just press a button and you access 5,000 magazines and papers.
Wow.
Yeah.
And if you can go onto them, you can download anything you want. You can, if you say you wanted a holiday, you press something, it'll take you to another magazine that'll suggest a holiday. And I think it would have been so good for her because she'd have been able to look at all the magazines and ring me up and say, you look terrible in that shot. You've got too much makeup on. Your clothes are, who put you, she'd have loved that. She'd have loved the access to me looking terrible. But it's just such a wonderful thing for somebody that's at home, on holiday, train, whatever, you can just access so many magazines like that without, not saying you shouldn't go to the shop and buy it, of course you should, but you know, this is where apps are going.
Have you ever heard of an app called Blinklist?
No.
Oh, Sherry, I think you'd love it. So Blinklist.
I'm writing it down.
Sorry?
I'm writing it down.
Blinklist, right. So Blinklist is a bit like, it's all the books that you ever wanted to read, but it's literally in each chapter is in like 5 paragraphs. So it's a pre-seed version of all the books, and you can read a book in 10 minutes, but you know exactly what it's all about. So somebody reads it for you. But it's fantastic with all the best, especially with, you know, factual books. So I can tell you that I've read thousands and thousands of books. If somebody talks about a book, I've read it because I've read it through Blinklist.
Wow.
And it's absolutely, but so somebody else reads it and writes all the things like point 1, point 2, point 3, so everything that you need to know.
How fabulous. So can we put these both at the end of the show? And Readly and Blinklist. I think
Blinklist.
Yeah, good.
I honestly love the idea of Readly. Well, I am Blinklist, but Readly, fantastic because.
But you know what?
Love magazine.
Do you remember Cole's notes at school?
Yes.
You have Cole's notes, which were literally the same things, like Cole's notes on Shakespeare. So it was all the things that you needed to know about Shakespeare. And like, you know, you could read A Midsummer Night's Dream, but it would all be in note form. That, you know, it's exactly like that.
I remember that for exams.
Fantastic.
They used to do it for our sort of on end of term exams.
Of course, the best app of all is the Fart app, which of course Harriet introduced us to.
Yes,
and my little grandsons love it.
There you go. It is the answer for everything. Any comments you want to make, check the file out. Thank you.
So now let's going on to something completely different. Who is our guest today, Cherie?
Well, she is, I think, one of the most iconic women in our country. Powerful and very important. Also, the most gorgeous lady. Of course, it's the wonderful Maggie Oliver.
Hi, Maggie.
Hey, Maggie.
Welcome back.
Hi.
Welcome.
Oh,
Where are you to begin with?
I'm at home. I'm in rainy Manchester.
Oh, so you left Spain.
Yeah, I came back about a month ago, but I'm going back again on Saturday. So
I'm trying to be happy for you, but I'm not getting there.
I'm going with 3 of my kids will be there this time, and my 2 grandsons. So it'll be nice. One son's missing, but the others are all there. So
how fabulous!
Oh, brilliant!
So,
and how have you been, Maggie?
Yeah, really well, Sherry. Busy, mad busy. But you guys are, I'm sure.
Your foundation. Is this your foundation?
Yeah, it's just took over my whole life, and I hope within a couple of years, you know, I'll be able to step back a little bit. But it's just every day, it's just unrelenting. But you know,
tell us all about it, Maggie. What's happening now?
Well, we've gone from just being me to 3 trustees. I've now got 6 trustees and a team of 40 volunteers, almost 40.
Wow.
Wow.
3 paid members of staff. We are helping, hundreds of survivors who are being let down by the system, most of them. But we have a phone support service, which we're different. We're not like the Samaritans. We connect a survivor who comes to us with one of our trained ambassadors, and they have an initial 8 weeks, 1 call a week with the same person.
Wow.
So the feedback is just, it's actually overwhelming. You know, when you get messages from people saying they were suicidal, and one lady had, the only thing stopped her killing herself was she had a little girl, and she was in an abusive relationship, and this support call every week gave her the strength to leave the relationship, to know she's going to be there for the, you know, for little girls growing up. So, you know, there's some really important work going on.
Life-changing.
Yeah, and Maggie, I have to say, I loved your thing about turning pain into power.
Yeah,
You're such a positive person, and it's that's amazing, an amazing message for everyone.
Yeah, and it's you know what, I think that is true. I always say when I go to speaking engagements that we all have pain in our life. Everybody has pain of some kind or another.
Yeah,
it's really what you do with that. And so the foundation, that really is the stream that runs through it. You know, that wherever you've come from, whatever you've been through, how you deal with that, and timing is a big part of that, but you can transform that pain into power. You know, I kind of feel I've done that with I have had a lot of pain. You know, I lost my husband in his 40s to terminal bowel cancer. I'll show you his picture. That's my Norman there.
Let me see.
With Dennis Law. So he was a football fan. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just getting you another picture of
please.
of our little Macy. That was my little granddaughter. So she, you know, she was born, so they say, with a very rare condition called Lee's syndrome. But at 6 months old, we didn't know anything was wrong. And then at 6 months old, it's a lot. It's all in my book. But she had a massive seizure that the doctor said she was just overtired. And when they took her into hospital, somebody had connected up the air to the oxygen and the oxygen to the air.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And overnight she went blind. She couldn't have a bottle anymore. And she never recovered. So I know, you know, I watched my son lose his daughter, and because the NHS made mistakes, they took a biopsy, but from the wrong place. So they can't have any other children now, because there's a chance that a baby would have the same condition. So I know what pain is, you know, I do. And then losing my job,
real pain.
You know, it was, that was you know, those two things I didn't have a choice about. But walking away from my career, I did. And people may be shocked to think that actually that was the hardest journey of my life, because I had a choice. But I've tried to create something positive from that by, you know, creating the Maggie Oliver Foundation, helping those who have nowhere else to go. And we are challenging the failures in the system. You know, lots of those who come to us are being let down by the system, by the police, by the courts, by the justice system, and they don't know where to go. So, you know, I feel that good has come out of bad. And I want every survivor who comes to us to know that because they've been sexually abused, then they can never undo that. They can't change it. But what they can do, they can try to use that to grow and to move forward, and we will help them. But I just want there to be hope for people, that things can be better.
Maggie, it's very interesting what you said about your career, losing, you know, that your career was the hardest part. And somebody said to me many, many years ago, it's about losing your tribe. And actually that really resonated with me, because that was your tribe. And now, you know, your tribe let you down. And so what you've done now is you've created your new tribe.
Yeah, actually, that's a really, that's a really good way of putting it in a way.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in Greater Manchester Police, and I worked in serious crime. I didn't really work in child protection, so I worked on murders. But I remember being involved in a really big double gang murder, and there was a documentary done about it. And one of the bosses said in that documentary, you know, our gang is bigger than your gang. And it's true, because the police, in a way, is a gang. And what I did, I stepped out of that gang. But making that decision took me 18 months, because I couldn't believe that those at the top really knew what was going on. I know now that they did, but letting go of something that I put 16 years of my whole life, I believed, you know, that the police were there to protect the vulnerable, to uphold the law. And when the penny dropped that that's not what was happening, you know, I had to let go of pretty much everything I believed in.
It's funny, you know, I read your stuff all the time. I'm always on your thing, reading your stuff. And I know anger isn't a good thing to hold in, but your anger must be run right through your body, because when I read your stuff and think things haven't changed enough, and it makes me so angry anyway. But for you it must be even more, because you fought so hard and still nobody listens. I don't get it.
Yeah, I think, and you're dead right, Sherry. I mean, there's lots of things I can't watch on the telly because it really triggers me. And what makes me the angriest is when I hear, you know, chief constables saying things have changed, and how many, you know, how many more times we're going to get another review that says if lessons need to be learned, we will learn them. And I just feel
that phrase.
I feel enraged. But all I can do is keep on.
Keeping on.
Keep going on. And I do think that since I left, which is 2012 I resigned, I do think that there is awareness in the country now that there wasn't.
You can't hide it. It can't be swept away as it has been. And I think you're right. What do you think the next point of change is going to be? Because as all the things that have happened recently, there is no escape from the truth and the reality that people have not cared. What do you think is going to move forward now?
You know, I think we're in a watershed moment, because this is no longer just about grooming gangs. For me, it's about rape, it's about sexual abuse, it's about the authorities turning a blind eye.
And murder.
And murder. I mean, you look at Sarah Everard's case. Now, that has captured the imagination of the media. And I think that is really interesting, because not to play down what happened to her in any way, shape or form, but had that been one of my Rochdale girls, there would have been a judgment. You know, they deserved it. They don't present as a beautiful, educated, middle-class girl. So for me, in a way, that makes me angry, because it shouldn't matter your background or if you had a drink. In a way, it's like going back to, think of the Yorkshire Ripper, because I remember.
Yes.
And absolutely.
All did you watch, Maggie? Did you watch the thing called Manhunt that's just been on with Martin Collins? Really, and that was really interesting, because they said that the fact that if these were older ladies, so therefore the media were not interested in and so it was the same sort of thing. I mean, these women for all those years, and he had the similar problem where he had to fight with other people, other forces, because it was their case and not his case. Why don't people listen to each other? I don't understand.
I think there's so many factors, Debbie. There's there's resources, there's money, priorities, and I'm saying that terrorism and gang-related murders are a priority for police. There is an argument to say, because I worked on murders, that was my career, and many times we would have one young lad who would shoot another lad, both were in opposing gangs. There were bits of kids, you know, dealing drugs, and yet we would throw, or the police would throw, a full major incident team on that for maybe 2 years. The murderers happened. You know, there is an argument to say that we have lost that argument. We have lost that war on drugs. Take those resources and put it into protecting young girls and children, and, you know, investigating these crimes where they occur. It is about priorities. It's about choices. And for me, those choices are not being made in the right way.
But you can see how things are prioritized when you watch the Jimmy Savile documentary the other night. And you actually, the anger, you know, that we were all around at that time, and everybody let him get away with everything because he was Jimmy Savile. Even the royal family, you know, backed him.
Yeah,
and when you watch that documentary, you just think, why didn't somebody? But of course, we know why. You know, it's all to do with money, isn't it?
And power, you know, and power. You know what, Sherry?
Yeah.
That is why I say leaving the police was the hardest thing I've ever done, because I'd lie here in bed every night with all of this churning over in my head.
I'm sure.
I couldn't sleep. I couldn't make sense of this. Why wasn't everybody shouting out about it? You know, we had the girls telling us what was happening. We knew who the offenders were, and yet they were choosing to turn a blind eye. And
wow,
you know, and that's why I say it was the most difficult decision of my life, because I was told, look, and it was said to me by one of the bosses, listen, Maggie, you are just a detective. In the police, senior officers make decisions and you do as you're told. And if you can't do that, maybe you're in the wrong job.
Oh my God.
I had another senior officer who said to me when I was kicking off about them, you know, not doing what they should be doing, or not allowing us to do what we should be doing. He said, Maggie, calm down. Just calm down. He said, let's be honest. What are these kids ever going to contribute to society? They should have been trapped at birth. And I swear on my children's lives that he said that to me. So when you've got people in positions of power with those attitudes, you know, you do have a choice. Do you carry on and get your wage and think it isn't my responsibility? Or do you listen to your conscience? And in the end, but you know, I feel that I've been exploited, and I believe that lots of other police officers are being exploited to do a job until they rattle the cages. But being the person that I am, I could not have. I had to do what was right for me.
And what's come out is your foundation and change. And that is the extraordinary thing. Through all that, what you just described is so abhorrent. But your voice is making a difference. More than if you stayed in that job.
I think it's touched a nerve in ordinary people, because ordinary people think the same as me. And I think that the other positive thing that I know we spoke before, Sherry, but you know, when I lost Norman, when he was diagnosed terminally, he was 46, and I'd been with him since I was 20. You know, it was to be left on my own at 49 was really scary. And but you have to kind of you have to live your life, and I think that the message I would like women really, older women, to think that because these awful things happen, you can reinvent yourself, and you can, you know, there is always hope. You can always move forward, and sometimes the first step is the most difficult, but once you've made it, you are on a new path. And my life is completely different from how it was. But you know, at that point, I remember thinking, you know, I'm a mum, and and I am a grandma, and you know, I've got good friends. That's my life now. You know, sit at home and watch the telly and just plod along. But you know, my life now is completely different, but it's really good again. You know, I've got good friends, and you know, I'm glad that I was with Norman. Would I rather not have been with him than have to lose him in my 40s. No, I wouldn't, because we have brilliant. So everything in life.
And this is all in your book, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, Sherry. It
Yeah.
is.
What's your book, Maggie? I must read it. Can you tell us what it's called?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Survivors, it's called.
Have you got it there?
That's my book.
There it is.
Advisors, thank you. We're all going
Right,
to read that
I'm
now,
on
Maggie.
Amazon now to get it. I'll have it by tomorrow morning.
Absolutely.
So I kind of wanted to try and explain that I am just an ordinary person, and I joined the police, as you know, at 41. So I've always sort of been a bit, I've always liked to challenge, but you know, I think this has been the biggest challenge of my life. But the team that we have now at the foundation is just phenomenal. So if anybody's listening who does need help, go to our website, www.themaggieoliverfoundation.com. You can self-refer. We will help. We've just put our first survivors through a group therapy course with a trauma-informed psychotherapist. So we're trying to get funding now. If anybody wants a small charity to support, we're a national charity, but small. But, you know, yeah, sort of our army is a really good army. We all believe that, you know, we all believe in good and bad and right and wrong and justice and kindness and non-judgmental and all those things that victims of abuse very often feel judged. They feel really on their own, and
they don't speak up. They don't speak up because of that.
Because of that.
So because of you, they have somewhere to go now, and you are changing people's lives. And I think that is the most moving, inspirational,
wonderful,
passionate,
you are
extraordinary thing.
And that is all about.
Got another book in you, Maggie. That's what I want to know.
I think the next book will be the bits that I wasn't allowed to put in this one.
Exactly.
Yes.
So Maggie, if you were making a film of this book, who would play you?
Oh gosh. Oh God.
Are you suggesting yourself?
You know what?
Debbie wants to think it's her.
Debbie wants to think about it.
No, it's not about me, obviously. Honestly, obviously. Who would you like to play you?
Probably Julia Roberts, actually.
There you go.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, somebody
Erin
who
Brockovich.
really, you know, because I loved the Erin Brockovich. I like, you know, where
I was thinking of that. Yeah.
So something like, I saw another one. Somebody.
Yes, but what age would she have to be? Because she'd have to
look
start
young.
Yeah, I'm gonna say she'd have to be much younger. Yeah.
She'd have to put the makeup on and make, you know, and challenge the stereotypes. I remember being in Celebrity Big Brother and Anne Widdicombe, who's roughly the same sort of age as me. I remember her saying to me that I shouldn't be wearing high heels and I shouldn't wear makeup. Well, that wouldn't be me. Just like you guys, you're all really
what would she know anyway? You
Exactly.
look amazing.
Exactly. My mother used to say, I don't like women who don't wear makeup because they think they're very vain. And I went, vain? And she said, yeah, because they think they look good enough without it.
No.
At 89, Maggie, my mother was wearing 6-inch heels still.
Was she?
Yes. And a bikini. And a bikini. Not at the same time. But,
Yeah,
she never let it go, and you know, neither should you. To the end, for God's sake.
Right.
Yeah,
you look fabulous.
I'm with you all the way. I mean, there's a bit of a
about aging. I mean, the thing is, people say, "Oh, you know, you've got to let yourself age gracefully." But what, you know, what's the point of doing that? You know,
Who made those rules?
I think
But who made those bloody rules? Excuse me, swearing. Who made that rule? They can all nap off. It probably wasn't women.
No, it probably wasn't. And you know what? Like you guys, you always look fabulous. You're all, you know, makeup. For me, having your hair done, your nails, putting your makeup on, that is your face to the world. And you know, it makes you feel better and more confident. And that is just, you know, I mean, it's a bit of a standing joke amongst my friends, because I do, and I know you're laughing, Sherry, but I do wear heels with my shorts when I'm on holiday. They're not like that, but they are like that.
It makes your bum better.
Yeah.
And your thighs and your tummy, everything.
Absolutely.
I think this is a whole other show.
Confidence.
I think you have to come back, Maggie, please, and do a whole other show about heels.
Oh yeah.
Confidence.
Thank you. Thank you so much, darling.
And call it
You're
the real
amazing.
Maggie,
See you, darling.
the real Maggie Oliver. The one
The
side you
real,
don't
oh
know.
my God.
Thank you so much, darling.
Oh, thank you.
See you soon,
Thank
darling.
you.
Darling, see you soon.
Bye.
See you soon. Bye, ladies.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Fabulous.
How fabulous.
She makes me laugh so much.
She looks gorgeous. doesn't she?
Gorgeous. I
Yeah.
love her.
And she's so stunning, isn't she? She's beautiful as well, inside and out.
Yes.
I think today we are going to actually dedicate this show to the wonderful Sir David Amos, who, well, what words are just
A
ridiculous.
peaceful, wonderful man.
And to
Yeah.
send our love and strength
To his family.
Yes.
Yes. And
Yeah.
he did so much for doggies and, you know,
people.
humans and, loved
Yeah.
animals. And
I know.
I think that the world is a really strange place, but these things happen. But they do.
It doesn't make any sense
No,
whatsoever.
it doesn't. It really
And none of
doesn't,
us are
Gary.
making sense of it. And it's, and it's not just the pandemic. We can't blame everything on the pandemic.
No,
No, it's the
No.
world we're living in, sadly.
Yeah.
But
It's
I love
very,
his
very
family
sad.
anyway.
We
Yeah.
send our love to his family and thank him for all the
Absolutely.
great work he's done. And he's obviously going to do some great work in the sky, we hope.
It was
Yeah,
so
I'm sure he
fascinating.
will.
No matter which side of Parliament you were on, they all had
Doesn't
wonderful.
matter.
Oh,
Even if
God,
they
yes.
disagreed, their friendship between each other was, and that's what his family are suggesting, to go forward with togetherness
Yeah.
and not to keep us apart. To be
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well said, Harriet. Well said.
Exactly. So from all of
Yeah.
us at the Wonderbirds
Thank you.
to his family, thank you, David.
Dormail, home of a great night's sleep.